to our very exciting main speaker for today, Nan McKay. And my friends, I'm not telling on Nan because she told on herself a few minutes ago that she has just had her 81st birthday. You will notice that she has more vitality than most gals half her age. And let me tell you, because I've been on a retreat with her, she is super fun to be with. She goes. She's the Energizer Bunny. And she has, in her career, built a multi-million-dollar training company, Nan McKay and Associates. But guess what? She's not as active in that business because she started a whole nother business, Nan McKay Connects. She collaborates with women business owners, leveraging the power of AI. She crafts revolutionary business and marketing strategies for them, and her passion is to drive innovation and growth for her clients. We are blessing, Nan, to have you as our speaker today, and you have about 30 minutes, and then we'll take some Q&A if we have time. Go ahead.
Hey, Katarina, I want to share my screen if I may.
Okay, that's Jody's job. Let's see. There we go.
All right. I thought you might like to have these PowerPoints because there's a lot of information on them. So if you look on the very bottom where it says sign up for handout, that's where you can go in on that page and get these PowerPoints, because there's lots of things that you're going to want to come back to with those. I am so excited to tell you about this. I kind of feel like so often we are like Alice in Wonderland. We keep coming to these forks in the road for our business, and we say to ourselves, do I go this path or do I go that path? And after a while, even if you start down a path, you realize, oh, I'm not sure this is a path I should be on, and you move over to another path and you lose your focus. And the bottom line is, if you don't know where you're going, then it doesn't really matter what path you take. So I want to start really back at the very beginning. And the beginning is maybe we need to rethink some things about our business. And let's talk about our business strategy success path. I'm gonna put my glasses on so I can see myself. So 3 things let's talk about. One is, what is your vision? And what's your vision today? My vision today is not the same as what my vision was 12 months ago. I don't know about you, but we keep reinventing ourselves, and we reinvent somewhat our vision. So the other thing we need to do then, once we get a new vision, is we need to look at our business identity. And I'm going to talk about that. We need to have a client understanding. We need to know who is our ideal client, what are their pain points, and we need to be able to create a buyer persona. So if we don't have this initial strategy and feel like we really are on the right path, then it's difficult to get very far down the path without feeling like we're tripping. So our vision is going to set our big picture. Where is it I really want to go? And then once you kind of feel like you have that, you want to take a look at getting very clear about it. So what is your core definition? And you should be able to write that out, kind of your elevator pitch then as well. What you do, what sets you apart from other people. And then what is your offer? And that offer has to tie directly back to your business description. And that's going to detail the products and services that you particularly provide. Now, you also have to look then at your digital assets strategy, because you cannot operate today a business without having digital assets, without having a direction on where you want to go in marketing for the internet. So that generally involves a couple of things. One is your landing page. And most of you will have, at some point, have done a lead magnet. So you have to have a page that comes back to that, where that leading magnet can be spawned from. And those are specific web pages, and they're designed for a marketing campaign or offer. So you may have a number of landing pages, and those pages may be on your website, or they could be on a different site, depending on how you decide to set it up. But what the whole idea is how do I take that visitor to that site and convert them into a viable lead or customer? And then you have fulfillment, and the fulfillment piece of that landing page says that I need a way for them to pay. And the way for them to pay is usually a connection to something like Stripe or PayPal, etc. Your landing page also could include registration, because maybe your landing page goes to a webinar or goes to a course or even goes to a meeting with you. So you need that registration or sign up on the landing page. That would be a very important digital asset that you have. Another one is something like an ebook. So you need something that is a lead magnet to provide maybe in-depth information on the thing that you sell, or at least related to the thing that you sell. And those ebooks are usually designed in Canva, but all of these things can be enhanced with AI. So I'll get back to that in a second. Last thing on the digital assets are your templates. And these are the things that you have, formats or structures or things that will allow you and others to be able to create what they need to create and you need to create with your templates. So the third piece to our business and marketing strategy is that we need an engagement or conversion strategy. And that is things like this. You might do a webinar, because we all know we have the credence, or the thing that I think Katerina has taught us best, and that is that people need to know, like, and trust you. And we know that they're not going to go, even though we would love for them to do it, they're not going to convert from your little lead magnet that you have out here, that you have gotten to from your landing page. They're not going to convert with something that would go from there, way over here to your high ticket offer. You're going to have a success path or a progression. And that generally is to start with something like, let's say, a webinar. And that's a seminar type thing that's conducted online, usually for a product launch. Your webinar would generally be free. It might have a small cost, but it's not going to have a big cost. That's very helpful for people who don't really know you and they're getting to know you. It's usually about an hour, and it's your first step. Then you might have something like a consult that you want to send them to from the webinar. That would be a one-on-one meeting. If you're, for instance, a coach of some kind, you might want to get them from the webinar into the consult. Then we might have something like a survey, and that's where we're going to gather some data or collect data to understand some of the market needs that our pain point or that our client has. And we're going to talk a little bit about quizzes, because that is the #1 lead generation. That's the #1 way to get not only your email addresses, but the key is that you don't have to do cold calls with those people. Instead, because you've got a whole lot of information about them already, and you can find out whether they're really your ideal client. And #2, you can find out a lot about them before you make that warm call. So how do we do all this with AI? How does AI work into this? Well, here's where we start. We sign up for ChatGPT. Now, there's a lot of programs that are using AI, but the basis for everything really comes back to ChatGPT. So we have to know what are some of the basics of the operation of chat, what are some of the basics of writing prompts, and we have to know what are some of the uses for ChatGPT. So we want to talk about some of those things. So here's how to access it. It's very easy. You go to the sign up with the URL that you see there. And then when you want to start your chat, that every single time from that point on, you go chat.openai.com. And that will get you into your chat. Now, two types of chat. You've got Chat GTP 3.5, that one is free. And you've got the Chat GTP Plus 4.0, which is $22 a month. My opinion is it is well worth the $22 a month. If you have to sell something else to afford you $22, that is worth it. So what does that give you that it doesn't give you with the free version? One is peak time access. So it's more robust, it's faster response times. The only slight limitation, and I think I've only come across this once or twice, is that there's a cap of 25 messages every 3 hours. But that is a very tiny cap, and it's not important. So what are some of the basics? Here's some of the things that are really important for you to know about chat. One, you should put it in a role. You may want it to be a market analyst. You may want it to be a content creator. You may want it to be a business strategist. You have to tell it because it doesn't know. If you don't tell it what it is, it's kind of like a parrot that may just simply operate on what it's heard before, but not have any context for it. And so maybe you want to plant a garden. Well, you're not going to tell it you're a marketing strategist. If you want to plant a garden, you're going to say you are a gardening expert, or you are a landscape designer, or you are something else. But you need to put it in a role. Second thing that's important to know is that the prompts, and that's where you write in at the bottom what it is you want it to do. Your prompts are its lifeblood. That is the most critical thing that will happen. And I'm going to tell you in a minute what are some of the basics of writing prompts. The prompts are first are going to tell it what it is, who it is. That's the role you want it to be. So you are a marketing strategist. Prompts would be what it is that you want as your outcome, what it is you want it to do. Now, the third thing that is important to know is that sometimes it'll tell you, it's too much for me to do. I can't do all that. You know, you're asking me to give you 20,000 word, to make up 20,000 words on something that you're asking for. It's too big for it. So what does it do? It'll give you a pretty good outline, and then you can go back and you can do a follow-up prompt, which would then say, highlight this piece, copy it, paste it, and then say, expand on this area. And that's basically all you have to do. You can say, give me 500 words on this. You could say, give me 1,500 words on this. You can easily go up to about 8,000 words that you ask for on one specific area. Once in a while, it'll stop and it'll go, you're thinking, what's the matter with you? You know, what's wrong? Because you don't want to lose anything up above. I'm going to talk about that on the thread. But if it stops, you simply type in continue, and boom, it keeps on going. Another thing that you need to know that's a hint is I definitely would copy and paste the information it gives me that I want to keep. Copy it into a document. Why? Well, you can. It does have a wonderful menu on the side. You can go back to all those things you already did. But first of all, when you start into this, you can get 50 things on the side. And so you're not sure where things are. Two is it may stop, something may go wrong, your computer may reboot. You want to keep what you've got, copy and paste. If you get some gold, put it on a Word document so you've got it. Now, same thread means generally, as long as you're staying in the thing that you named it up here, and it named itself, you'll come on down with that, all the things you keep on going with it. You're expanding, you're asking it for more, you're asking it to do something else. But if you keep it about that subject, then it will stay in the same thread and you don't have to constantly go up above and copy and paste it. You are able to simply say, continue with the information above, or with the information that you gave me above, I want you to. You're almost talking to it like it's a real person. So you have all your chat files on the left, and then you can copy and paste to expand that text. So here's some basics of writing prompts, what you want. One is be specific. Be as specific as you possibly can, because play like you're talking to somebody. If you're talking to someone and they don't completely understand what you're talking about, they may provide you back information that's totally different than what you want. So narrow it down as fast as you can. Number two, provide a context. So that it has to know in general what you're talking about. Just because you think it's obvious, if you had a person that you met on the street and you asked to do that thing you put in the prompt, would they have any idea what you were talking about? So provide the context. I am writing a newsletter. I am creating a course. I am whatever it is you're trying to do, trying to create a social media post. I want a social media post on what specifically, how many do you want, how long to be, all those things. Be as specific as you can. Three is direct the output format. Do you want a list? Do you want a bullet? Do you want text? How do you want this displayed? I mean, maybe you want to say, I would like you to prepare 10 PowerPoints on the content that we had just before this. Okay, it can't produce the actual PowerPoint, but what it can do is give you the text for each one of the PowerPoints. You may want to design a form. So it simply says, using the information above, design me a form on this. All of those things are things that you can do with AI. So other thing is anticipate potential misunderstanding. And just like that person that you're talking to on the street, you may want to tell it a little bit more, because you may not be getting exactly what you want. It can give you what you want. You just have to be clear about what you want. And then experiment with different prompt styles. If one style works, then you can copy that and then just say, use this format on this, colon, and then you put it in what you've used before. And then use the instruction with a whole lot of specificity. All right, what in the world can you do with chat as it relates to a business? I could go on forever, but I'm going to just start with a few things. One is begin with your customer journey. So your customer journey, it's helpful to tell chat what your role is. What is it that you do? What is your role? Number two, who is your market niche? Is it a woman over 50 who wants to start a business? Is it who's a physical therapist? Dr. Anne-Marie. Dr. Anne-Marie, you could do these very easily, thinking about who your market niche are. Those people with the back pain, those people are trying to lift their kids and they can't, you know, all these things. Customer data sets is the third thing. This is where you want to know the language, you want to know the pain points, you want to know the challenges. So you want to really dive into, you want to totally understand your ideal customer. And then you want to know, what are your ideal customers' challenges and desires, and what might be their objections to what you're offering. All of these things are part of what you need to know to be able to be successful with your customer. And then you want to create a buyer's persona, which is to give you an idea of all kinds of things about that particular buyer, so that you have all the information that you could. So here's the kind of way that you would lay it out. So I'm going to give you an idea. For instance, how would you describe your role? I would say to describe it to them in, let's say, 5 words or less. Now, if you have trouble with that and you think, oh my gosh, my role takes 2 paragraphs. Okay, put your 2 paragraphs in and say, please condense this to 5 words. I often say please because I get to think like it's a real person in there. That's why. And then what is your market niche is your second one. So an example might be small women business owners over 50 who seek clarity in business strategy and marketing. That is exactly who I'm looking for when I'm talking about this kind of stuff. Who is your ideal customer? Something like describe your business.
All women business owners.
2 sentences for your elevator pitch, or describe the specific topic that your product or service will be focused on. If you can start giving it more information, it will then start taking that information. If you stay in that same thread, if you stay in that same chat, you just keep on going down the page, then it will keep giving you answers to what you're asking. So when you gave that business description, that was probably 2 paragraphs, you can simply say, describe my business in 1 to 2 sentences with an elevator pitch, to produce an elevator pitch, something like that. Just like you'd ask somebody to do it for you, it will do exactly that. So things like this that you'd want to know. What are their top 5 challenges? Because you want to know, what are those challenges? What are the frustrations? What are your concerns of your ideal customer? What are their top 5 desires? And you can, again, do those kinds of prompts. What are their top 5 objections? Why would people say no to your offer? If you know why they're going to say no, you know how to talk the talk. You know how to take Katerina's sales pitch that she gives you, and she gives you a course and she tells you what to do. You now could get your objections that fast, and now we can respond exactly to what Katerina's talking about. All right, going over here to my next one. So what is the result? When you complete what I'm talking about, you're going to have a market message blueprint. And that's what you want. You want to fully understand your market, because then now I can relate directly to my market. Now, another thing that I said I would cover is, what is a quiz funnel? Because that is one of the things that you are going to be able to do if you decide to do some marketing. Why do you want to use a quiz funnel? I think a quiz funnel is really important for a number of reasons. One is, I'm not talking about it just one little question thing when I talk about a quiz funnel. I'm talking about something that's pretty comprehensive. And I'm going to give you a little more information on that as we go. But that is helpful because, and you can use AI to do this, it will help you engage potential customers. It will, because you have that hook question and potential customers go, oh, I'd like to know a little bit more about that. You're asking them what kind of, what type of, what is your #1 challenge? You know, that type of quiz question on a hook. And then you're taking that quiz question and you are delving further. And you have several types of quiz questions, and we'll talk about where you go from there. But the key is that the questions that you develop, including the diagnostic and the non-diagnostic would be quiz questions about what is their primary interest in, whatever it is, or what age group are they in? Those things that are, you just want to gather data on them. Because part of what you're after is, are they your ideal client? Are they your ideal customer? And until you gather some of that information, you really don't know. If your quiz is so generic that you put it out there and you don't really know whether it does, then they're your ideal customer. Then you're going to spend so much time talking to people who are not your ideal customer. So narrowing it down with everything that you've got, including your non-diagnostic questions, is going to tell you, is this who I really want to work with? And then it will definitely increase your conversion rates. And as I said, you can gather that valuable data. I'll tell you more about it in just a minute. But back to what you can use AI for on your whole marketing, and just think about this program and how your marketing works. And then we'll dive deeper into the quiz funnel. Your quiz funnel is an example of a lead magnet. Now, what's a lead magnet? Let me go back to landing page, lead magnet, quiz funnel, so you get an idea of what I'm talking about. Your landing page, because I used to get those confused at first. I think, what's the difference between a lead magnet and a landing page? They sound so much alike. They both start with L's, but it's far more than that. Your landing page is the website page where you're advertising whatever it is that you want to give away. So what you're giving away is your lead magnet. Your lead magnet says, come over here a minute. I want you to be on my email list. So would you like this? Would you like this spreadsheet? Would you like this template? Would you like this ebook? If you like it, then all you have to do is give me your email address and I will give it to you. I'll give it to you free. That's a lead magnet. And that's what we use to build our email list. That is one of the major ways you build it. Okay, now we go down and we say, all right, what kind of lead magnet? Well, I gave you 3 or 4 up here. Your number 1 is your quiz funnel. So with your quiz funnel, you not only get your email list, but you start getting targeted leads because of your quiz questions, because you know so much more about them than you did. And it then leads you to your offer, which the know, like, and trust thing is probably something like a webinar. It could be something else, but it's something where you can showcase who you are so that they get to know you, like you, trust you, and say, I want more. And then the webinar, from the webinar, think your success path, leads you to a course or something like that, could lead you to a coaching call, but leads you often to a course, which is kind of the mid-range. This would be, I would say on the really low side, $47. More typically $197, maybe up to $497, maybe $997, but that's a little out of the range. I would say medium price, because remember, they don't know you except back here. They've given you information. They've done maybe the webinar, but they still don't know you very well. So to say, I want you to go over here and pay me $10,000 for my high ticket offer, I'm not going to do it. Very rare. Now maybe Katarina could do it, but she can talk anybody into anything. So that's possible. But the rest of us people, no, we can't do it. So we have to have typically some intermediary. It could be a call for a very little amount, could be a something that you do for them to show them what you can do for a very little amount, whatever. And then you can send them. Now we can start to lead them to our high ticket offer. All right, now building a quiz. Let me tell you what this takes. And because it has a lot of steps, that's why I said you want to get that PowerPoint presentation so that you can see this. But here's what a really good comprehensive quiz funnel, how you really build it. Number 1, I have you use AI when I help you actually identify your ideal customer and write a clear and specific description of your business, because I'm going to use the same thread all the way down to even build your quiz. Then number 2, you want to develop an initial offer. You say, whoa, wait a minute, Nan. I'm a sequence person. I'm a structure person. You went out of order. Offer, was that at the end? Yes, it is. But here's the issue. You've got to tie back to the beginning to be sure everything is tied and stitched together. Because what's your hook question? What are your quiz questions? That all has to point to your offer. Otherwise, why are you doing it? Just putting a quiz out there for fun? Number 3 is to create 3 to 5 buckets or categories that are going to lead to your offer. This is the way you segment your customers. This is the way you know who they are. This is the way you know who their ideal customer, and this is the way you know how you can talk to them. And then next thing is you develop your hook. So you do all this before you get that main quiz question. That's your hook. Then you develop 7 to 9 questions with responses that lead to each one of your buckets. And you can even increase that up to 13 questions, whatever works for you. But the point is your questions and the responses, the 4 responses that they give, we can tie directly to your 4 buckets. So each response to each question ties to a bucket. And that way I know very well what person I got to work with. Then we custom design the quiz funnel. We look at your website, we look at your colors, we look at all those things. And then we create outcome pages for each bucket that leads to a script. We give you the script, and the script then becomes a video. So you then shoot your video, one for each bucket, and that then tells people what it meant to fall into that bucket. And then you create the video and a report to analyze the performance of the quiz funnel, and you create a description of your initial offer and a link to it. And then you connect your quiz funnel to an email server and your social media for lead promotion. So you see, it isn't just, I can write a question and I got it. No, it's far more than that. This is a full-blown marketing tool for you that is going to be extremely helpful in really understanding your audience and engaging the right people that you would have no other way to figure out who they are. All right, so back to my marketing and know, like, and trust. What are some of the ways we can do this, and how does this all work? I just kind of thought it'd be fun to give you a plethora of it. So you have your website, really where you start. On your website, you build your landing page. On your landing page, you have a link to your lead magnet with a registration to capture their email in order to get it. Once you, and whether that's a quiz funnel, whether that's a spreadsheet, whether it's an ebook, whatever it is, then you have your email messages that will go out. By the way, all of this can be created with AI. You create your 5 email messages, for instance, with AI. And then you can go over here to your social media posts with AI. You can say, give me 5 Facebook posts for this. And then when you go up to the webinar, you can design your webinar. You can help design it with AI. And you may end up giving a speech as one of the things that it might lead to. And it can even help you outline your bullet points and your things you want to cover in your speech. So it's a marketing tool. AI is a marketing tool that you don't want to rely on 100%. You want to rely on it to give you ideas and thoughts and what can you do with it, because it's your partner sitting there telling you and bouncing things back and forth with you. So you might ask, well, what else can I create? And I think I'm getting pretty close, Katerina, to my time. Okay, I think I've got maybe 5 minutes at the most. And so 2 minutes. Oh my God. So templates, books, you can write a book. I've done it with AI. You can create courses. The list goes on and on and on. Other business uses, I could create or update a business plan. I can create a monetization assessment strategy, a pricing strategy. I can create SMART goals, features and benefits so that I know exactly what to say with my marketing language. I can create a strategy map. I can create a survey. All of these things are things you can do with AI. So if anybody wants any help with this, contact me. I have lived it and breathed it, and I can definitely say it's a little bit of a learning curve, but once you get there, it's so much fun. Did I make it in my 2 minutes?
Yes.
I'm awfully close.
Great job, Nan. Great job. Thank you. And thank you, Nan. And Nan, would you please put in the chat
Okay.
the link for the handout and your contact information if you haven't already. Nan, I'd like to ask if you could give a couple of examples of how your clients have used it and how it's impacted their business?
Yeah, it's really interesting. I have a person, I think of a person right away that actually has become a friend. And lots of my clients, I adopt them, I think, because I enjoy working with them so much. This is a person out in Maryland who has a sales program, and she was brand new starting her business. And she thought, I've got to do something that will really get me to some clients I need. I haven't got much of an email list. But what she found, which I think was fascinating, is that she found that she not only could just get the generic, here's a bunch of people that are interested in what I'm doing, but she said she could zero down, and her first week, she got 3 clients from it. I mean, I think that's pretty amazing. Now, in addition to that, I look back at my own data, because I've got the way I do the quizzes is I've got a way to put it into a system where we create it together and get all the information and the content, and then I put it into a programming format, and then it comes out. And it was a 91% rate of people answering the quiz, going all the way through the quiz. Because a lot of people don't go all the way through their quizzes. They'll come into the first couple of questions and then don't. But let me also give you one more thing, and that is my own experience. I floundered, I think, for 4 years. I mean, I kept joining big, expensive programs, thinking I've got to learn what to do this new market area, out of my housing arena, out of a different group. I have a different group of people I'm working with here in this business. How do I do this? And I did things. I went to one that said, okay, you need to write a course and you need to write a book. I wrote 3 courses. I published a book. It didn't do it for me, didn't get me anywhere. So I had to go through time and time again, trying to figure out what I really could do with my business to focus in the area that not only I enjoyed, but it made me some money. And that's where I had to focus. And going through this whole process of business strategy, whether you're reworking it again after something you've tried and you thought this isn't quite doing it, or you're starting from scratch, it is so helpful. And I'm not just talking about the quiz, I'm talking about the strategy all the way through the whole thing is so, so helpful.
Thank you, Nan. Joanne has a question, and let's take about 1 minute to respond to Joanne's question.
Oh, she knows how to talk.
Joanne, go ahead.
So my question is how do you integrate the human factor, our own individual people who our clients, our clients are hiring us because of us, our authenticity. And then you've got this AI stuff that's generating, content or generating whatever other, this is besides helping you strategize, which is, a nice way of getting some business strategy coaching without having to have an actual coach. But the human factor and our own, how do you customize it to be, really who we are, because that's what's that's what people are looking for, and how to differentiate us individually from everybody else out there.
So many things are going through my head. Let's see, Joanne, if I can even start with this. First of all, I rarely will take exactly what AI has put out. I would say AI is number one, my brainstorming partner. AI will talk back to me in the same tone that I give it. And that helps a lot, but sometimes it throws in words I wouldn't use, sometimes too big a word that I will look at it and think, I don't even know what that word means. So I'm certainly not going to be using it. But it gives me a context. It says things in a way that I say to myself, I thought I said that, but I look at it and go, oh, mine wasn't nearly as good as this. So it gives me some thought that I use constantly in going back and saying, there's got to be a better way of saying what I want to say. And so I'll put it in and try it. Like, I'll give you an idea. Maybe you've got a new program. I'll come easier with that. You've got a new blog, or you're writing a newsletter, or you're doing something like that. And you've got it written, and you can run it back through AI, and you can copy and paste what you've written, which I do often, and say, rewrite this, and have it rewrite it and see if there's anything that's any better. And I would say 98% of the time for me, it is better. The other thing I can say is, I can't think of a good title. I want an engaging title. I want one that sounds like me, but people are going to not go, oh yeah, here we go again, another coach. I want something that grabs them. What in the world could I do? And so I'll say, give me 5 titles of this blog, and it will. And then it's still not what I want. Give me 5 more. I can do however many I want. I can do, if I don't like something, I can say, make this more da-da-da, and it'll do it. So it's what you put in is going to be the human factor of what it creates.
Thank you. Okay, we've got one more question, but I want to stay on time. So briefo. Jody, go ahead.
Hey, Nan, thanks for your talk today. And I just want to say that you've done such a nice comprehensive job to introduce this idea. And so when people want to work with you, do you sit down with them and do you do the work on the AI, or do you teach them how to do it themselves?
Both ways. I've done it both ways, and it just depends on what people want. But I have to me, I have never tried it in a group. I really rather prefer doing it on a one-to-one, because I think to do it one-to-one, it's a back and forth. And if somebody wants to do it, then we'll get them up on AI, and we'll put in various prompts. And I'll say, okay, see this piece, take this piece, copy and paste it down here. Let's say expand on this. So I just work with the person back and forth. In fact, with the quiz funnel, I do that over 2 days. But I actually do teach them how to use it if they want to use it.
That's great. Thank you.
So I have something I put on my website. I just put it up. So if you want to just explore and see how far you want to go with it, I've got like $99. I'll give you an hour, and I'll create everything I can create for you that you want. 99. I've written one out.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah.
Exciting.
And you can try it out. You can say, oh God, is this something I like, or I'm not doing this, whatever.
That's awesome. How fun. Okay, good. Well, everybody check that out, and let's give some love. Everybody put some love on the screen for Nan, thanking her for her awesome presentation. So I want you to ask yourself right now, as we're wrapping up, are you leaving more uplifted than when you showed up? I'm hoping the answer is yes. And I invite you to spread the word about PWN, our fabulous organization where we get together, we uplift each other's lives, and through our charity and our fundraising, we uplift many more lives. We'd love to have more members at PWN for our live and in-person and virtual events. So please, next time, and it's going to be a great speaker next time too, just like today, bring a guest or two. Thank you to our speaker. Thank you to Jody and Julianne and Megan and all of our board members for their awesomeness. And most importantly, thank you for coming and being a part of our organization. Thanks, everybody. Make sure you save the chat before you go and connect with all our other fabulous, amazing members. Thank you. Thanks, everybody.